I'm not a rap artist. I know this may come as a surprise to you, but I'm not. The closest I come to a musical career was when I had a punk band when I was 14. So I spent a lot more time in punk clubs in Northern Britain than I have in hip-hop clubs or rap clubs in the US. But I have come to love the hip-hop theology of Jon Gill, so I have to tell you a bit about it. And yes, I have been listening to Raz, Cass and Grandmaster Cass while working lately. So what's all this about? Well, it has to do with the underground God, the God underground. The God appearing ex profundis, out of the depth. In this book, Gill describes a religion appearing from below, from the catacombs of the rap clubs. We're not talking big business music industry here, but rather the kind of hunch, the urge, the need for words, rhyme, sense and nonsense, where it all got started. And the beautiful thing is that kind of a creative beginning, the kind of hunch and urge, is so similar to other creative underground appearances of God that I have been exploring lately, like the revolutionary avant-garde art collective in Russia that I wrote my last book about, and the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, the Pussy Riot movement, the Radical Fairies that I will tell you more about in a coming film, and all of those similarities that just go to show that Gill is right when he writes that since the interconnections of culture and the idea of God are endless, deconstruction is indefinite. So deconstruction of God is indefinite, and so is the construction of God. Because, he says, when we admit that the name of God is merely what human history has shaped it to be, we also admit our artistic responsibility in making it what it is and what it will be. Hip-hop culture is, in its very practice, a multiplicity. Grandmaster Cass says, hip-hop didn't invent anything, hip-hop reinvented everything. So, Gill notes, hip-hop is not about creating ex nihilo, but just like MC Catherine Keller reasons, it's about creating ex profundis, out of the depth, out of the deep. The hip-hop culture is an assemblage of elements. It consists of bits and pieces of Afro-diasporic oral traditions, Jamaican reggae, toasting, rock and roll phrasing, avant-garde jazz and more. Or in Gill's words, its presence among us is not due to a linear progression from one influence to another, but emerges as a result of a multiplicity of non-linear confluences, all of these and more influences. This is the theopoetic recreative power that underground rap manifests. He describes underground rap as a religion that creates a metaphysics that structures, restructures, and post-structures ways of being in the world. Theopoetically, the rappers form what he calls a next universe, where the creative impulse runs too fast to be trapped by ossified dogmas, stereotypes, and oppressive systems. In other words, underground hip-hop is theopoetic. It's a concrete aesthetic example of how the world creates God through creativity. And now the question, of course, goes back to you and me, the creators, constructors, producers of theology. I'm sure you are a writer of some sort, an artist of some kind. So what gods and what worlds do you and me create? With what lyrics, what words, what rhymes, what pace? How do you admit your artistic responsibility to create and recreate God and the world that we share?